Hello, friends. Today I want to tell you the unbelievable story of Cleopatra, the last queen of ancient Egypt. Cleopatra was one of the most famous women in history, and her life was like an exciting movie. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this amazing story. More than 2,000 years ago, in 69 BC, a girl was born in the city of Alexandria in Egypt. Her name was Cleopatra, and she would grow up to become a unique and powerful queen. But before she reached the throne, she was just a young girl with big dreams. This family had ruled Egypt for many years, but they were not originally Egyptian. They had come from Greece. At a time when most women did not receive an education, Cleopatra studied very hard. She learned many languages: Greek, Latin, Egyptian, and even Hebrew. People say she could speak at least 7 languages fluently, something very rare. She was curious about everything: science, math, literature, and politics. Cleopatra didn't want to be just a queen with a crown. She wanted to be a wise and powerful ruler. She also had another secret weapon: charm. Cleopatra was not only intelligent, but she also had great confidence. People said she had a voice that could captivate anyone. But her childhood was not always happy. Her father was a weak king, and many people in Egypt were unhappy with him. Sometimes Cleopatra's family had to escape from Egypt just to stay alive. When Cleopatra was around 14 years old, her mother disappeared. She may have died or been killed. Her father became sick, and very soon Cleopatra had to fight for her place on the throne. Cleopatra was ready to become a queen even when she was still a teenager. Although her family was Greek, she respected Egyptian culture. She was the first Ptolemaic ruler who learned the Egyptian language, and she even presented herself as Isis, the great Egyptian goddess. But her path to power was not easy. When Cleopatra turned 18, her father died. In his will, he wrote that Cleopatra must share the throne with her younger brother, who was only 10 years old. In ancient Egypt, this was normal, even if the children were very young. But Cleopatra did not want to share her power. She knew she was smarter, more educated, and more capable than her brother. The royal advisors did not like her. They preferred the country to be controlled by a young boy they could easily command. Slowly, they plotted against her, and Cleopatra was forced to escape from the palace. But Cleopatra was not a woman who gave up. While in exile, she decided to make a big plan. She knew she could not take back the throne alone. She needed an ally. At that time, the famous Roman commander Julius Caesar came to Egypt. Cleopatra decided to arrange a bold and dramatic meeting with him. One night, she wrapped herself inside a large carpet, and one of her servants carried the carpet into Caesar's room. When the carpet was unrolled, Cleopatra stepped out with a magnificent appearance and great confidence. Caesar was amazed. Cleopatra told Caesar about her problems, about her love for Egypt, and her right to rule. Caesar was impressed by her intelligence and charm, and he agreed to help her. With Caesar's support, they defeated Ptolemy XIII, and Cleopatra
became queen again.
She improved the country, increased trading with other places, and made the friendship between Egypt and Rome stronger.
After returning to power, Cleopatra developed a close relationship with Caesar. She was 21 years old and Caesar was 52, but they were both deeply impressed by each other. They spent their days in Alexandria talking about the future of Egypt and Rome and traveling on the Nile River. A little later, Cleopatra had a son, Ptolemy Caesar, known as Caesarion, meaning Little Caesar.
Cleopatra dreamed that one day Caesarion would unite Egypt and Rome. But this relationship created a lot of problems and arguments in Rome. Many Romans hated Cleopatra and thought she was dangerous.
Cleopatra traveled to Rome at Caesar's invitation, arriving with great luxury and glory. But Caesar's enemies criticized him for being too close to her.
In 44 BC, Caesar was assassinated in the Senate. Cleopatra was shocked and heartbroken. She had to return to Egypt immediately because she was no longer safe in Rome. Back in Egypt, she took control again, strengthened the economy, and expanded the army. But she knew she could not stand against Rome without a powerful ally. After Caesar's death, Rome fell into a civil war. Among the commanders, Mark Antony was the most powerful, a brave, charismatic, and respected soldier. He needed financial support from Egypt for his battles, and Cleopatra needed a strong ally to protect her country. When Antony invited her to the city of Tarsus, Cleopatra arrived with incredible beauty and glory. On a golden ship with purple sails, perfume filling the air, and clothing that made her look like Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Antony was enchanted by her. They returned to Egypt and spent joyful days together. Celebrations, conversations, and planning for the future. Their love grew stronger, and they had 3 children together. But in Rome, Octavian, Caesar's adopted son, saw them as a threat to his power. He spread rumors that Cleopatra had bewitched Antony. The tension grew, and the 2 sides went to war. Cleopatra and Antony fought against Octavian's strong army, but they lost. In the middle of the battle, Cleopatra suddenly pulled back. Antony's army fell apart, and the 2 of them went back to Egypt. Octavian chased them. In the final battle, Antony was defeated, and when he believed Cleopatra was dead, he stabbed himself with his sword. But before he died, they brought him to Cleopatra. He took his last breath in her arms. Cleopatra realized that Octavian wanted to take her to Rome alive and humiliate her in the streets. She refused to accept such a fate. She sat in her royal clothes in a room filled with jewels and, according to legend, placed a poisonous snake on her arm and let it bite her. When Octavian arrived, he found Cleopatra dead, lying peacefully in her room. Her death ended the Egyptian kingdom, and Rome took over Egypt. But Cleopatra's story didn't end. People remembered her for being smart, brave, and strong. She was not just a queen, she was a symbol of courage.
Cleopatra teaches us to be strong and not give up. Even in hard times, she stayed brave. Let her story inspire you to dream big and face your problems with courage. Dear friends, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please like the video to support us. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get our next videos. And tell us your opinion in the comments. Thank you.